Hello friends, this video on electromagnetic induction part 6 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 5 before going ahead with part 6. We have discussed about Lenz's law as well as Faraday's law. It is time that we discuss about the direction of induced current in detail. However, I have told you what Lenz's law tells about the direction of induced current. But there are certain special cases which I should discuss separately so that you are able to determine the direction of induced current in any of your problems. So the most important fact that you need to remember is that induced current always opposes change in flux. It will not oppose the flux. It will oppose the change in flux. Right? Now I will take a couple of examples to make things clearer. Let us suppose I have a region where there is a magnetic field acting in the downward direction. I have another region where the magnetic field is acting in the downward direction. So in the first region, let us suppose I have a magnetic field of 20 Tesla. I say that this magnetic field gets changed to 10 Tesla in the downward direction. That means the direction remains the same, but the magnitude of magnetic field changes. It decreases from 20 to 10. So what will be the direction of induced current? The first question is whether there will be a current induced. The answer is yes, because since the magnetic field is changing, therefore there is a change in flux. And what is the change? The flux is decreasing. So flux decreases here. So the change is the decrease in flux. So this decrease will result in an induced current because there is a change in flux involved. Now what will that induced current try to do? The induced current will also have a flux of its own, right? So that flux will basically try to oppose this decrease, right? So the induced flux will try to oppose the decrease in flux. Right? So what would be the direction of induced flux? See, understand things properly. You have a magnetic flux already. That flux is decreasing. Because of that decrease, an EMF is getting induced in the circuit. Because of that EMF, there is an induced current in the circuit. So there is another induced flux related to it, right? So that induced flux will try to oppose the change. The change is the decrease in flux. So what will it try to do? It will try to increase the flux. So what will be the direction of this induced flux? This induced flux will also be in the downward direction. Understand it properly. Earlier it was 20 Tesla in the downward direction. Now it is 10 Tesla. You want to increase it. You don't want to decrease. You don't want to go from 10 to 5 or 10 to 4. You want to make 10 to 11, 12 or 13. So in that case, what will you do? You will give more flux. The additional flux also you will give in the downward direction. For example, you have 10 meters of length. You want to increase this length. If you want to increase the length, you will increase it in this direction, right? If you want to decrease this 10 meter, you will push it back in this direction. So if you want to increase this flux, that means the induced flux will also add to this flux so that it can increase it. So the induced flux will also be in the downward direction. Now, if induced flux in the downward direction, what should be the direction of induced current? Now you just apply your right hand thumb rule, the rule which we studied in our previous chapter. That means if you have a circuit like this, you are saying that the flux is in the downward direction, right? You are saying that the induced flux is in the downward direction. So in that case, what should be the direction of current? Your thumb will represent the flux and all your 4 fingers will curl in the direction of current. So in that case, if you see, your current will be in the clockwise direction. So current will be clockwise. So the direction of induced current is clockwise. So you understood, it is not very complicated. Just that if you understand it once, you will understand it forever. Then you will not get confused with it. So first you have to decide whether there will be an induced current or not. Induced current will be there only if there is a change in flux. Change in flux will be there only if there is a change in magnetic field or change in area or change in the angle between magnetic field and area. Now let us suppose that there is an induced current. So what will be the direction of induced current? The direction of induced current will be such that you oppose the change in flux that produced it. In this case, the decrease in flux produced the induced current. So the induced current will try to increase the flux. Therefore, the flux which is related to induced current, that is induced flux, will try to increase the previous flux. So it will be in the same direction, right? Now let us look at another scenario where let us suppose that in this case you again have a magnetic field of say 20 Tesla, but in this case it is in the upward direction. That means it is perpendicular to this plane but upward. I say that this magnetic flux reduced to some value, let us say. Now let us suppose if I say that it is decreased to 10 Tesla in the downward direction. So that means in this case your magnitude is decreasing, at the same time the direction is also decreasing. That means it is decreasing all the more. So in this case obviously there will be induced current because your flux is changing. Now here what is it here? Or here the direction of the flux itself is changing. So what will be the direction of your induced flux? In this case the direction of the induced flux will be the opposite direction, that is the upward direction. Why is it so? Because the induced flux will try to oppose the change. And what was the change? Change was the downward direction. Like earlier it was upward, then it changed to downward direction. So now to oppose that change, first you have to change the direction, right? Because when I say that it is somewhat like this, let us suppose this is downward direction. I say initially it was upward direction 20. Now it is downward direction 10. That means it reduced till here, till 0, and then it reduced till 10. That means it has reduced a lot. So to increase that, the first thing that you will do is the induced flux will be in the opposite direction. It will try to take it back to its original direction. It will think about its magnitude later. So the induced flux will act in the upward direction. So now if the induced flux acts in the upward direction, in that case what would be the direction of your current? The current will be in anti-clockwise direction. So this would be the direction of current, right? Now let us look at these two were the very simple cases, right? Now let us look at some other scenarios. Suppose if I take a scenario where I have a magnetic field. So I have a region where you have a downward perpendicular magnetic field. And let us suppose that you have a rectangular loop which is moving with some velocity into this region. Let us suppose if it is entering this region. So what will happen? As it enters this region, it is coming into a region of magnetic field. So that means the flux increases. So when it enters the magnetic field region, what is happening? Flux is increasing, right? So because of this increase in flux, induced current will be there. So what would be the direction of induced flux? The induced flux will oppose this increase in flux. So what will it try to do? It will try to decrease the flux because it will oppose this change, because the increase in flux is the cause which resulted in current. So the induced flux will try to oppose the change. So it will try to decrease the flux. So what will it do if it tries to decrease the flux? Since the flux is in downward direction, if you want to increase it, you will give more flux in the downward direction. But if you want to decrease it, you will give the induced flux in the opposite direction. Therefore, the induced flux will be in the upward direction, because in this case you want to decrease it. Now, if the induced flux is in the upward direction, what would be the direction of induced current? It is in the upward direction. So the induced current is anti-clockwise. Let us consider one more scenario where you again have a magnetic field like this, and there is this loop which is going out of this magnetic field. Let us suppose you have this loop which is going out of the magnetic field with some velocity v. So when this is leaving the region, what is happening? The flux is decreasing. It is just the opposite case of 3. So here the flux is decreasing. So current, due to the change in flux, current will be induced. So what will be the direction of current? So the induced flux will try to oppose the change. So what was the change? The change was decrease in flux. So it will try to increase the flux. It will try to increase the flux. So in order to increase the flux, in which direction this induced flux should be? It should be in the same direction. Earlier also it was downward. So this will also be in the downward direction, so that together it can increase the flux. So your induced flux is in the downward direction. So again, as usual, using your right hand thumb rule, your direction of current would be clockwise. So this is how we determine the direction of induced current using Lenz's law, and it is really going to be very helpful when you come across your problems as you go ahead, right? So I hope I am able to explain you properly that how do you determine the direction of current using Lenz's law. Now there is another rule known as Fleming's right hand rule, which is used to determine the direction of induced current. So Fleming's right hand rule and Lenz's law are two alternative options for determining the direction of induced current. So in Fleming's right hand rule, what it states, it says that if you stretch the three fingers of your right hand, that is the middle finger, the first finger and the thumb, then your thumb is pointing towards the motion, that is the motion of the conductor. First finger points towards the magnetic field, and in that case your middle finger will point towards the direction of induced current. So if you apply this rule, you will get the same result. In the previous slides we tried some examples, right? So if you try to find out using this rule, if you consider the third and fourth examples and if you apply this rule, you will get the same result. Try to stretch your, let me draw it here. I will draw the third and fourth case here. That will explain this rule better. Let us suppose this is the magnetic field and this is your loop which is moving with velocity v and it is entering inside. So your magnetic field, that is the first finger, is in the downward direction. Your velocity, that is thumb, is along this direction, that is towards the direction of the velocity, that is the motion. So the direction in which your thumb points, that would be the direction of current. So if you look at your middle finger, it is going downwards, right? So what does that? So that downward direction says that the current flow along this line is in the downward direction. So this is the current flow. So if you look at it, if the current here is downward, that means the current through the loop will be anti-clockwise, right? Which is the same as you found in the previous slide. Previous slide also you found that the induced current is in the anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, if you consider the fourth scenario where you have a magnetic field this way and there is a conductor which is moving out of this field with velocity v. So in that case, what will happen? Again, you stretch your fingers such that your first finger points towards the field, that is in the downward direction. Your thumb points towards the velocity. So in this case, you see that your middle finger points in the upward direction, right? So that means, so in this case, your current points towards the upward direction. So you get the direction of current in this way. So which is a clockwise direction. So it is like Fleming's right hand rule is just an alternative to Lenz's law, but as a personal advice, from my personal opinion, it is always safe to use Lenz's law to determine direction of induced current, because Lenz's law will never confuse you, right? But in Fleming's right hand rule, many a times, orienting your fingers in the direction of the objects, sometimes it creates confusion and people end up getting wrong directions. So I will always advise you to go with Lenz's law, because that will never mislead you and you will never get confused. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.